ESPN just listed 2 Arizona Cardinals as trade candidates. We're going to dive into who they are, what they had to say about them, and what could Arizona get in return. You're watching Cardinals Today, presented by Prize Picks. I am your host, Joey O'Donohue, and before we dive into the show, I want to ask all people that are Cardinals fans out there watching, help us get to 3,000 subscribers. If you're watching and you're a diehard Cardinals fan, I really want to show our bosses at Chat Sports that we can keep doing Cardinals videos. So if 152 people can help us out, and please hit that subscribe button. It is free, and I'll give you Cardinals content, news, and rumors as they happen. So ESPN insider Dan Graziano thinks James Conner is a big trade candidate for the Arizona Cardinals by the trade deadline. Let's look at what he had to say about this rumor. The team signed Tyler Algier in free agency, used the number 3 pick on Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. Conner has been a great signing for the Cardinals, posting consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons from 23 to 24. But he turned 31, is coming off a major season-ending injury, and has just 1 year left on his contract. Conner accepted a pay cut this past spring, so it's possible he is in their plans and that someone such as Trey Benson is more likely to get traded to alleviate the logjam of running backs. But it feels like the Cardinals, one of the 6 Cardinals running backs, has to go. And a team looking for a reliable veteran back could make a move for Conner if he's having a hard time getting carries. The Bengals and Giants jumped to mind. They were looking for running back help this offseason, but didn't bring in much. It is true, folks, that running back room is very, very crowded, and I don't think all 6 make this roster. The thing is, you could argue 4 of them deserve a role in an offense in the NFL, and that's why I expect one to be traded. Interesting that Graziano picks James Conner of everybody in the Cardinals running back room over Trey Benson. He did point out that Benson could be on the move, but he listed Conner as the one that is a guy with trade value, RB3 right now on our depth chart. I've always thought that Conner reworking the contract meant that he is in Arizona's plans because, one, he is still valuable. Coming off the injury, we'll see if he's the same player, but I've always thought he was in Arizona's plans as that thumper, a reliable running back you could bring in goal line situations. But Benson, being younger, maybe has a little more upside for a team to make the trade, and you already have your young running back in Jeremiah Love. So that's been my take. But James Conner is certainly a guy that I think is getting slept on right now. Like, he's reliable, he's consistent. I mean, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons is not a joke. You see 2024, he had nearly 1,100 yards, averaged 4.6 yards per carry that year, 8 touchdowns. The year before, he was averaging 5 yards a carry and scored 7 touchdowns. I mean, the guy is a good football player, a good running back. It's just the injuries have piled up, and he's aging. So that could be what leads Graziano to pick Conner of the 2 to be the running back that gets traded, age and injuries. His value is going to depend on the team, given those 2 components. I think you're looking at a 4th or 5th. Some in the office tell me he'll be a 6th. Others say Cardinals fans are going to want a 3rd. Probably not getting a 3rd for Conner at this point, but could you get a 4th or a 5th? That would be, I think, Arizona's goal, and one where they're like, oh, all right, we'll move Conner for that price. Graziano mentions the Bengals, so what if we do a trade like this where we try to get that 4th and the Cardinals give a 6th in return? The Bengals receive James Conner and a 2027 6th-round pick, and Arizona gets an extra 4th in 2027. They would love to stockpile picks in that 2027 class, which is going to be special. And should they need a trade-up to get the number 1 pick, it'll be there for them. But I think they'll be pretty close to it anyway. Would you guys accept this deal to move James Conner? I know a lot of fans probably really like him, but are you doing this to free up that running back room a little bit and get an extra 4th? Let me know in the comment section. Type A for accept if you're doing it. Type D for decline if you're like, no way, I'd rather keep James Conner. Next up, I said ESPN's got 2 trade candidates for you, so we're hitting you with the second one on the back half of today's show. And this one, honestly, comes as a surprise. We shall dive in. But first, let's talk about the app that I can't get enough of. That is Prize Picks. It's the best place to win cash while you are watching sports. Playoff basketball's here, big golf tournaments, baseball's underway. If you're old school, to qualify for a Prize Picks lineup, pick 2 to 6 players and select more or less on stat projections. That could be points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers, and several others across all sports. If you're more of a baseball guy, choose stats such as hits, home runs, and strikeouts. I myself have a 3-pick power play in basketball. We're going to go more on OG Anunoby's points, more than 10.5. Also going to go more on Stephon Castle, more than 11.5 points. He's been my favorite pick on Prize Picks in the playoffs, working really well for me, helping me win Prize Picks lineups. And then I'm going to go Victor Wembanyama, more than 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists. This is the Wemby game to me. This lineup has a payout of $171. It's a $60 lineup. You can make one just like it. The app's so easy to use. Pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. And if you're a new user, download the Prize Picks app today. Use code HMA, and when you play your first $5 lineup, you'll receive an extra $50 in lineups. That is code HMA. When you play your first $5 lineup, get an extra $50 in lineups with Prize Picks. Clickable link to download the app is in the comment section and description. ESPN Insider also lists Josh Sweat as a trade candidate. Folks, this just came out like yesterday, this article, all right? So what's shocking about it is it contradicts what Ian Rappaport just tweeted out, that all the rumors about Josh Sweat gaining steam on social media. Josh Sweat is not getting traded. Not to the Packers or anywhere. Carry on. This from Rap Sheet. So kind of interesting that Graziano still lists Sweat as a trade candidate. Can you explain this, Dan? Graziano says, Sweat signed a 4-year, $76.4 million contract with Arizona in the 2025 offseason, cashing in off a Super Bowl win with the Eagles, but obviously things didn't go well last season for the Cardinals, who have a new coach and new defense. Sweat staying away from Arizona's offseason program. He's letting it be known he is not happy there. Acquiring team would take on a guaranteed $17 million in 2027 compensation for Sweat, and none of the remaining years or money on his contract is guaranteed after that. That is a good deal for a player such as Sweat and should result in decent outside interest. Well, there definitely will be decent outside interest given he had 12 sacks last year, but I find this part really interesting. Quote, Sweat is letting it known he's not happy there. That is something to not take lightly, folks, because even though Rappaport is tweeting that it's not going to happen, teams don't always say that they're trading their stars. Look what just happened the other day, the Myles Garrett blockbuster. The Browns general manager was adamant they're not trading Myles Garrett. I showed you this on my last show. If you haven't watched it, go click on that show and watch it. It's a good one. And the Browns ended up shipping Myles Garrett out despite telling Adam Schefter there's zero chance they will. So there is absolutely merit to adding Josh Sweat to this trade candidates list. Graziano continues his sentiment by saying the Cardinals would take on about $22 million in dead money. That's about $5 million this year, and then because it's post June 1, you could make $16.5 million next year. But if they dealt him, which isn't a ton in today's market, means the acquiring team would probably have to make it worth their while with the compensation. New England and Dallas would make a lot of sense if Sweat were to be available. And so that's what I think has gone down in these trade reports. First of all, we'll talk about that in a moment. But my take on the Cardinals and Josh Sweat is it is not the Cardinals' preference to trade Josh Sweat. That is why Ian Rappaport is saying it's not going to happen. I bet you Cardinals brass is telling the insiders, no, we don't want to trade Josh Sweat. That is not our intent. Despite them getting trade calls, they don't want to move him. However, why he is still a trade candidate? What if Sweat wants out? I mean, that is quite the fall from grace. You win the Super Bowl, then sign with Arizona and have 3 wins? Of course he's unhappy. And Dan Graziano confirming that from ESPN, Sweat is unhappy. He might be wanting out behind the scenes. He's not showing up right now. At which point, if Sweat is publicly unhappy, that diminishes the value. Now you're probably getting a 3rd-round pick. Again, that's if it's like a holdout situation. If Josh Sweat's like, I'm not playing for this organization, now the value falls. We're not there yet. This is speculation that he's unhappy. He hasn't said that. And so I think the Cardinals would want a 2nd-round pick. And this, to me, sort of pieces together all the puzzles of the Josh Sweat reports. Think about it. Rappaport says he's not getting dealt, but another NFL insider, Jordan Schultz, said the Cardinals got calls on him. So pair those together. Sounds to me like teams checked in on Josh Sweat. They weren't able to offer enough. And the Cardinals are like, We're not just going to move him. We want to keep him. Okay? I think they would want at least a second, but that's a tough asking price. Team's probably not willing to go higher than a third. So, let me know in the comments section, with all that considered and all that being the latest, the percent chance that Josh Sweat gets traded on a scale of 1 to 100. Comment down below what you think that would be. That'll do it for today's episode, guys. Appreciate you all tuning in to the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I've been your host, Joey O'Donohue, and I'll see you guys next time here on Cardinals Today.